Hey guys, it's your average middle-aged American back again with another reaction video. This one is Who's to Blame? Total blackout in Spain. I understand you guys had a pretty significant problem with power, and there's been a lot of rumors. I even had one guy in my comment section blame America, said that we attacked you. We attacked Spain. I mean, seriously? I mean, no offense, but if we attacked you, you'd be out for more than 4 hours or 8 hours or 12 hours. Anyway, it's ridiculous because we're allies and we love Spain. Even if you don't love us, we love you. If you're new to my channel, I am an average middle-aged American, and I am doing my best to learn as much as I can about the rest of the world, other countries, other cultures. My wife and I plan on doing some traveling when we go into retirement, so we'd like to learn about other countries before we visit. It's that simple. And quite frankly, I'm in love with Spain. Spain and Germany. She wants to go to the UK. I want to go to Spain and Germany. So obviously Italy, everybody wants to go to Italy. So we've got a whole list that we're starting. Hopefully we can check off before we die. And that's that. Anyway, this is supposed to be an update on what happened with the blackout. I have not seen it. We'll see it together. Enough jibber jabber. Let's see what's going on.
Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here with the Spain news update. We'll take a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press today in Spain. One story, of course, dominating the press still 3 days after the event, and that, of course, is the massive blackout, or apagón, as it's called in Spanish, that affected mainland Spain last Monday. The press still heavily focused on that event. And we'll also take a look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times.
They should be focused on it. It doesn't happen very often for you guys, right? You don't have a lot of natural disasters like we do. I mean, we're either on fire, being flooded out by rain, in the middle of a hurricane, swept up in a tornado, having an earthquake. I mean, basically, every possible natural disaster that can happen happens in America. Now, they don't all happen in every state and every location. You know, Florida doesn't get a lot of tornadoes, but they get hurricanes. Kansas doesn't get any hurricanes, but they get tornadoes. You get it. California's a mess. Don't ever move to California. Anyway, yeah, they should be finding out what's going on. I've heard Russian cyber attack. I've heard something to do with trying to be too green, not having the ability to provide enough power at one time because you're so focused on not using fossil fuels. I've heard America did it. What else have I heard? I think those are the three that I'm aware of. So let's see what this gentleman has to say.
By viewers. Before I begin, a huge thanks to all of the people that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's by buying me a coffee, whether it's through the super thanks option on YouTube, longer term supporters on Patreon, and the channel members of this YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your support, and it helps keep the channel going. Now, straight into the news, and as I said, the majority of news in Spanish newspapers today focused on the blackout, which, as we know, hit the country on Monday. Mainland Spain, some parts of the country were spared, for example the Balearic Islands, I believe, and also the Canary Islands, but for the rest of us here on mainland Spain, it was a nightmare. And are we any closer to finding out exactly what went?
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to laugh, and I hope to God nobody got hurt or lost their life, but it's just it is to say it was a nightmare. I could understand it being scary while it happened, not knowing when the power was going to come back on. My understanding is hospitals had power, the airports had power, you know, backup generators, that kind of thing. Losing power for 12 hours, we can lose power for 6 to 12 hours for no reason at all. I mean, seriously, like California has to turn their, like, actually literally turn their power on and off because they can't keep up with the demand. And you know, if you live on the East Coast and you get a hurricane, you go 3, 4, 5 days without power. I mean, on a regular basis. So it's just funny when he says it's a nightmare, because look up some videos on Katrina. That's a nightmare. Hurricane Katrina, when it hit New Orleans, that was a nightmare. But anyway, I hope you guys went through it okay, and hope you didn't get too upset, too scared. See my other video where I have invented the battery backup street traffic light. So that would help, I think, quite a bit. I don't know why we don't all have them. We all spend billions of dollars. In America, we spend trillions of dollars. How hard would it be to have a backup battery on traffic lights? They could default to a timer, 15, 20, 30 seconds on, red, 15, 20, 30 seconds green, just alternate, blah, blah, blah. And then at least people could drive their cars. At least taxis could run, buses could run. You could get out of an area. But if you lose power, you have no traffic lights, you have no cell phone service, and you can't use your mass transit, you're stuck. And that's crazy. There should be plans. There should be alternatives. And that simple alternative is traffic lights work, people can drive. Taxis can drive, buses can drive. Government could just, shove out a whole bunch of buses, pick people up for free. Emergencies, in a matter of an hour, somebody could take a bus, draw, on a piece of paper, tape it on the bus, go into Valencia or go into wherever, blah, blah, blah. But you got to have traffic lights working. Right? Seems simple to me.
Wrong on the day in question? Well, experts are pointing to a management failure by Red Eléctrica for Spanish mainland's blackout of the century. Experts are attributing the massive blackout that affected mainland Spain and Portugal on Monday to management failures at Red Eléctrica, the company operating Spain's electrical system and high-voltage transport network. Despite the government and Red Eléctrica not providing clear explanations and calling for external investigations, specialists consulted believe the incident stems from operational errors at the company, which is 20% state-owned through SEPI. Beatriz Corredor, president of the parent company Redea, denies any network failure, with conventional explanations appearing unlikely, such as substation fires, fallen cables or cyber attacks, and considering Monday presented favourable conditions with low demand and moderate temperatures, evidence increasingly points to errors in REE's control centre operations. Both the company and government deny management errors or technical failures, suggesting the issue lies with operational procedures rather than equipment malfunctions.
Okay, hold on a second. So if that was the case, wouldn't that be like a 15-minute fix? If it was just, managerial error or whatever? I mean, I haven't seen any reports of transformers blowing up or substations on fire or anything like that. So if that was the case, couldn't they just flip a couple of switches, call a couple of people, and 15, 20, 30 minutes later, everything's back to normal? See, I don't think you guys have the peaks and valleys that we have. Like, if you're in California, it could be 90 degrees and you need air conditioning, or it could be 40 degrees and you need heat. Now, heat takes up a lot more power than electricity, but air conditioning, but that's the point, is it's peaks and valleys. So 90% of the time in California, it's somewhere between 60 and 80 degrees or something. I don't know. I would never live there. So anyway, it's not a big deal. But then when it's real cold or if it's real hot, then it's a real big deal, because that consumption, will brown out the system. Up north, when I say up North America, up north in America, in the United States, most people don't have electricity for heat. It's too expensive. So they have gas or some other form of heat. I don't even know. Furnace, I guess, whatever. I don't live up north. I live in the south. Oh, and I never turn on the heat. Well, sometimes, but very rarely. And our heat is electric because we don't use it very much. So those demands are what mess up our systems. Between that and just being ancient technology that we clearly are not paying enough attention to, that's a problem. But you guys don't have that problem. You weren't in the middle of a blizzard. You weren't in the middle of a heat wave. And you don't even have enough air conditioners for it to matter if you were in the middle of a heat wave. You know, a lot of buildings don't have air conditioning at all. Anyway, I don't know. Something's up. Something's up. If you know what's going on, if you really know what's going on, or if you have a pretty good theory, you can back it up a little bit, throw it down there in the comments. Let's discuss it.
So management failure by Red Eléctrica, the company that controls the energy grid here in Spain, according to experts, is the reason for the failure. But again, a lot of the confusion surrounding this issue is because, as we saw there, the government and that company are not giving clear explanations. They're trying to push the blame onto private energy companies here in Spain and take responsibility away from the company, Red Eléctrica, which is 20% owned by the state, of course, and the boss of that company, former socialist politician Beatriz Corredor. And speaking of Ms. Corredor, she broke her silence yesterday, 48 hours after the event, but she gave no explanations for the blackout and assured that she is not going to resign. Nothing has failed, she said. Red Eléctrica President Beatriz Corredor has finally broken her 48-hour silence following Spain's nationwide blackout, rejecting calls for her resignation and insisting nothing has failed in the system. In multiple media appearances, the former housing minister has demonstrated a notable lack of self-criticism while attempting to reassure the public. Corredor firmly rejected suggestions that excessive photovoltaic energy production might have contributed to the
That's solar, I think. Why would it contribute to the 15 gigawatt drop? You guys have a lot of clouds? And if so, why are you so dependent on it? Why don't you have backup? Listen, I'm all for solar. Solar's awesome, but it is not bulletproof, and you have to have backup batteries.
15 gigawatt drop that caused the grid's collapse. Instead, she defended Spain's renewable energy infrastructure, citing its exceptional penetration ranges and pointing to the 16th of April when renewables successfully met all peninsula or mainland Spain demand. Despite providing few specifics about what lessons have been learned, Corredor confidently claimed that such an incident will not happen again and maintained that Spain's electrical system remains the best in the world despite the unprecedented failure.
I listen. I don't know enough about it to comment on the quality of your best in the world electrical system. I don't know. But I don't know that I'd be throwing that claim out after I just had a 12-hour power outage. Just saying.
So let's reflect for a moment on what Ms. Corredor said yesterday. Spain's electrical system remains the best system in the world. I'm speechless, and I'm sure...
There's my boy. I don't even know this guy, but I like him. Right? I'm not saying... Now, if she had said that a month ago, you know, it is what it is. Trump says stuff all the time. It's opinion, it's nonsense, whatever. You know? But to say it right after your entire country had to shut down, it's ballsy. It's ballsy. She's just trying to save her job. That's all. Just trying to save that job.
Sure that the other 49 million people that live in this country are speechless too. And she has also insisted that she's not going to resign. No surprises there, because this is a country where nobody takes responsibility and nobody resigns, no matter how bad the problem. But to have the...
All right, now I'm pretty sure this guy wasn't born in Spain, so I don't share every opinion he has, you know. He's making some bold statements. I like some of them. Some of them I'm staying away from. I love you, Spain.
Nerve to say that this country has the best electrical system in the world is taking the piss. Shameful, shameful, shameful that people like this are at the top of the country's institutions. Third piece of news now, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video today, the government is on a witch hunt going for the private energy companies here in Spain, wanting to blame them for what happened on Monday. As we can read here, information is not data. The government sends in Spain's intelligence agency, the CNI, to major electricity companies to access their records. The Spanish government has deployed CNI intelligence agents to major electricity companies to access critical records following Monday's nationwide blackout. This action comes amid growing tensions between the government and Red Eléctrica, Spain's grid operator. The situation intensified on Tuesday when Eduardo Prieto, Red Eléctrica's operations director, publicly ruled out a cyber attack, contradicting information provided to government officials who had been told no conclusive cause had been determined.
All right, I don't know anything about electrical systems. I know a little bit about electricity. Not enough to be anything but dangerous. But if it was all these other companies, these private companies, if they were to blame, what are the chances that they're all to blame at the same time? I mean, if the northeast section of Spain went down, yeah, you'd have an argument that whoever controls the northeast section of Spain, you know, it may be their fault. But when the whole country goes down, how are you going to blame multiple companies in multiple places? I'm confused. And how do you rule out something if you don't know the cause? That's like telling somebody, you know, they don't have the flu because they have cancer. Well, you can have cancer and have the flu. See, you guys don't have the same vigor when it comes to your government as Americans do. And that's a good thing in some ways. And see, we're just like, we just go nuts. We're not as accepting. And I don't know if that's I mean, I guess it's just because of the way we were, you know, the way our country was formed was through war. So we basically took out our government to form a country. So I don't know. But yeah, we don't take any crap from our government, at least not on purpose. But that's crazy. Yeah, we know it's not this, but we don't know what it is.
Apparent discrepancy prompted visible frustration from Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, who admitted learning this information through media reports. Government sources acknowledged coordination issues with Red Eléctrica, noting that while communication occurred, the executive branch lacked access to crucial data. When Red Eléctrica technicians informed Sánchez they couldn't explain the blackout's cause, he reportedly demanded a thorough investigation to find the truth and take measures. So will the Spanish government be able to get to the bottom of this issue? Well, if the last 3 days are anything to go by, I doubt it. And once again, a lack of transparency and a failure to provide the people of this country with clear explanations is on display for all to see. Again, it's an absolute shame. Final piece of news now, and ride-sharing companies here in Spain are in the spotlight over tactics used during Monday's blackout. And as we can...
This is going to be where everybody jacked their prices up, I guess. He's right, though. He's right. People that don't pay any attention to Spain or Portugal are all of a sudden interested in what's going on over there. So you got more eyes on you right now than you ever have. And if they start talking about how rideshare doubled and tripled their prices, there's actually laws against that in America. Now, it's a big argument because we are a free market, so you can charge anything you want for anything. But if it's under a declared emergency and it's considered essential, then you can't hike the price up very much. I forgot what they call it. What is it called? Price gouging. Now, technically, price gouging is usually on luxury items, but yeah, like you can't increase the price of nails, 1,000% in a town that just had a tornado destroy every building that has to be rebuilt, that kind of thing.
You can read here, the Consumer Affairs Ministry has opened an investigation into rideshare price increases during the blackout. The Ministry of Social Rights, Consumer Affairs and the 2030 Agenda has launched an investigation into potential price hikes by rideshare, or VTC services as they're known in Spain, during Monday's widespread blackout across the Iberian Peninsula. This inquiry...
Now, I think that really depends on what it is. In the real world, that's supply and demand. It's basically like overtime. If you've got, all these rideshare guys are now going to go take care of people because, they were sitting home eating dinner, then I understand that. Now, if there's regulations involved, if those companies sign papers that said, hey, we'll never increase our rates more than 20%, in a 90-day period or whatever, that's a whole different world. But otherwise, you got to look at free market a little bit. If I'm a rideshare guy, I don't want to take 5 people 3 miles for $5, I'd much rather take one guy 30 miles for $100. It all depends on what the regulations are.
Inquiry follows complaints from users in regions where emergency states had been declared, circumstances under which current regulations explicitly prohibit dynamic pricing practices. Following the devastating Dana storm in Valencia last October, the Spanish government implemented specific regulations preventing companies like Uber, Bolt and Cabify from increasing their fares during emergency situations characterized by heightened demand due to urgent public need. These rules aim to ensure ride-sharing services remain transparent and accessible, preventing them from exploiting extreme circumstances for profit. The investigation seeks to determine whether VTC operators violated these regulations by implementing surge pricing during the power outage that affected most of Spain on Monday.
That's a fine line, though. I'll give you a perfect example. At my grocery store, I can buy a gallon of purified water for 99 cents. $1. A gallon. That's 128 ounces. That's like, I don't know, 8 pints. Is that right? For $1. $1. But if I go buy 1 pint of water at my local gas station, that's going to be like $1 or even more, maybe $2. So that's like an 800% difference in price because I'm paying for convenience. If you order a pizza on Friday night, it may be cheaper than a pizza, or maybe more expensive than a pizza on Wednesday afternoon. You know what I mean? So I guess it depends on what what the rules are and what percentage it was. If they tripled or quadrupled the prices, yeah, that's not good. If they went up 25%, who cares, man? Just get me home. See, the other thing, you guys aren't big on, I don't know how your credit cards work over there. America's run on credit cards. And here, I've got a credit card, like American Express. Yeah, charge me whatever you need, dude. It's not right. I don't agree with it. I don't like it, blah, 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 blah. You call up American Express, boom, they'll reverse that charge, and that guy has to eat it. And half the time you just show them, you just go, hey, I'm putting this on American Express. You want to make a deal? They know. They're not stupid. If you've had a credit card for 20 years and you call them up, they're going to do what you want. If it's fair, they'll at least investigate it. I don't know if you guys, you don't probably use credit cards for your daily everything. I don't think. Let me know if I'm wrong. We use it for everything. Groceries. We get money back. So I don't know if you guys I don't even think you guys do that stuff. Like I get 6% back on groceries. So when I buy groceries, if I buy $100 worth of groceries, I get $6 back on my credit card bill. It's just like a little reward. And you can argue whether it encourages people to buy more or whatever, but fact is, it's free money if you pay it off every month. Yes, let me know. Let me know if you guys got the credit cards that will reverse charges.
There we go. Ride-sharing companies like the ones that we saw there, Bolt, Uber and Cabify here in Spain, under investigation by that ministry. What was the name of that ministry again? Oh, that's right, the Ministry of Social Rights, Consumer Affairs and Agenda 2030. And let's see if this government organisation can solve the case. I wouldn't be putting money on it. Now let's have a look at some comments that have been left on.
Do you think he has lenses in those glasses? Those are the clearest glasses I have ever seen. My glasses are never that clear. Never. I could run them through the dishwasher and buff them out with my polisher and they wouldn't be that clear.
On the channel in recent times by viewers. One here from Paul. So sorry for you and anyone affected by the outage, Stuart. Do hope nobody was seriously hurt. Yeah, Paul, thanks for the comment and for the kind words, but unfortunately there have been some casualties as a result of the outage on Monday. I think 7 people at last count lost their lives on Monday because of various reasons that are being attributed to that blackout. It could have been a lot worse, let's be honest, and sad to see that people did lose their lives.
All right, well, that sucks. So what's your legal system like? Like in America, 7 people lose their lives because some chick's in charge of power grid, doesn't know what she's doing, the power goes out, and there's not safety measures, and someone falls onto the train tracks or whatever happened that people died. That's immediately a lawsuit in America. I mean, immediately. Families on the news. Lawyers are hired. Most of them don't take any money down. They just take a percentage of the winnings, and that turns into a 10, 20, $30 million lawsuit. Do I agree with it always? No. We sue way too much in America. Way too much. I think we have more lawyers in America than the rest of the world combined. But lawyers make a lot of money too. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of education. But they also make a lot of money. I mean, a lawyer coming straight out of college will make at least $100,000, at least $100,000 a year, and then within 5 years they could be making, $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000. Just depends. But yeah, that's sue. And it's not even about the money. A lot of times they'll actually sue for punitive. Punitive basically is punishment. So let's say a guy makes $50,000 a year. He is a cab driver, and he loses his right leg, and he's 10 years away from retirement. That's $500,000 because he can't drive a cab anymore. They'll take that $500,000. They'll go, okay, you're getting $500,000 for lost wages. You're going to get $500,000 for pain and suffering. And then you're going to get $10 million for punitive damages just to punish the company. The idea is that it's not a break even. The whole idea is so that companies don't just pencil in lawsuits as part of their expenses. They did it with a tobacco company. Everybody sued for getting lung cancer. Cigarette companies just went to junk food. Bought up junk food companies, and now they're cigarettes and junk food instead of just cigarettes. Let me know. You guys suing over there?
But I will say that in general, from what I saw, people here in Spain behave fairly well on the day. One here from Gertrude: why you guys only talk about Spain when Portugal was even more affected by the total blackout? Yeah, Gertrude,
Really?
thanks for the comment. And would you mind if I called you Gertie? Well, Gertie, the reason why I talk about Spain on this channel and
'Cause I
everything
live there.
related to Spain and the blackout here in Spain, and not so much about Portugal, even though there was also a blackout in Portugal, is because the name of this channel is Spain Speaks. I'll repeat that, Gertie. Spain
Oh.
Speaks, not Portugal
Testy.
Speaks. Spain Speaks. In
Homeboy's testy. I like this guy. I'm going to follow this guy. I hope he doesn't show up in my comments, though. Kind of scares me a little bit. I think I could take him. What's the name of the channel again? Portugal Speaks?
¿Entiendes? One here from Rico for you. 456K a year is the annual salary of the head of Electrical Red. She has not given one comment since the blackout. What pathetic leadership we have. Yeah, Rico, thanks for the comment, but as we saw
The head of your entire national electrical grid makes $450,000 a year? Wow.
earlier, Ms. Corredor, the boss of the company that you
Corredor.
mentioned there, Red Eléctrica, has broken her silence. She spoke yesterday, some 48 hours after the event, but she didn't say much. In fact, she did. She said that Spain has the best electricity system in the world. And there's one word that comes to my mind, at least, after hearing statements like that: delusional. One here from Marco. Hi, Stu. It's amazing how many of your viewers are
You get what you pay for.
experts on complex electricity grid dynamics. Yeah, Marco, thanks for the comment. And you're right. If you read the comments on this channel, on the videos that I posted on Tuesday and Wednesday about the blackout, you could quite easily come to the conclusion that the viewers of this channel are electricity grid experts. And it happened during the pandemic as well. I have never seen so many experts on viral diseases as I saw in the comment section on this channel during the...
Hey, let me tell you something. There were more experts on the internet about viral diseases than there were in the government. Tell you that. Our government got it wrong. Your government got it wrong. Everybody got it wrong, except for the quacks that were online. We don't need to get into all of that, but wear a mask, don't wear a mask, buy a mask, don't buy a mask. 6 feet. Rub down everything with rubbing alcohol. Yeah. Do we even need to get into vaccines that aren't really vaccines? No. I may have to edit that out.
COVID times. But as we know, you can easily research all of these topics on the internet and get the same level of knowledge as people that have studied these topics at university for 4, 5, or 6 years. It's amazing nowadays. And the final one here from 12, it was either global warming, Putin, Trump, or Brexit. Yep. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below.
If it was Trump, it'd be Big Lee. Big Lee. You would have been devastated. It would have been the worst ever, the worst brownout ever. You would still not have electricity if it was Trump. I know, I'm not a very good impersonator. But let's face reality. If it's America, you're going to know it. And Trump would brag about it. He would have blown up all your stuff, and then there'd just be an American flag on one of your computers waving. Trust me, it wasn't us. We love you guys. I like this guy. He's my new online buddy. All right, seriously, I hope all you guys are okay. I hope you don't have any friends or family that got hurt or worse. Sometimes we joke about things. That is not something that I will ever joke about. The fact of the matter is we don't really know. We don't know what happened. And governments generally are not very open to letting us know things. We give our governments crap because we can. We can protest and march and even destroy things depending on, what side of the fence you're on. But they're not any more open to us than any other government. It's a little bit more transparency right now, but still. Come on, let's get real. So you guys need some investigative reporters and people like that to dig in and figure out what's going down. So how worried are you guys that it's going to happen again? That's the question, is that you don't have a history of this problem. So what changed? What happened? Was it a fluke thing? Was it going to become a monthly thing? And if so, then what? I don't know. I'm glad you guys are doing better, and I appreciate all of you. I will see you on the next one. Take care. Thanks for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Can you believe that we now have over 1,000 subscribers and over 100 videos in our YouTube library? Me neither. It's been less than a year, and this channel has grown so rapidly. What's more important than the number of subscribers is the quality of subscribers. Our subscribers are knowledgeable and generous with their time. They teach us about their country and their culture from their firsthand experiences. See, over 95% of my subscribers live outside of the United States. So we're getting information firsthand. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that button. I think you'll enjoy it and it doesn't cost you anything. If you'd like to see other videos similar to this one on the same country, click here. If you'd like to see some videos on some other countries in Europe, click there. Want to see some of the most beautiful castles and cathedrals in the world? They're over here. Want to check out the United States? We're down here. I appreciate you, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.